Honorable Minister, distinguished invited guests, the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Minister's Press Briefing here at the Ministry of Information. This morning, we have invited you at the instance of the Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. The Honorable Minister has led a very powerful delegation to brief Ghanaians through your platforms, GTV of course, and also on our various social media platforms, to educate Ghanaians about their mandates, the actions that the ministry has been taking, especially when it comes to policies, regulation, and legislation, specifically on matters relating to the environment, carbon markets, and climate change, as well as coastal resilience and landscape. Before I yield to the minister, kindly permit me to acknowledge some dignitaries who are with us this morning. We have with us the Director, PPBME at the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, Madam Lydia Esua. Also with us this morning is the Director in charge of Human Resource, Madam Cecilia Nyadia. We are also joined by the Chief Accountant at the Ministry, Alhaji Siraj Tanko. Also with us this morning is the Director, RSIM, Mr. Cephas Ejay Mensah. We are joined by the Chief Internal Auditor at the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, Mr. Godfred Modi. Also with us is the Director General, Nuclear Regulatory Authority, Dr. Nii Alote. We are also joined by the Director General of the Environmental Protection Agency, Honorable Dr. Henry Kokofu. Also with us this morning is the Chief Executive Officer, National Biosafety Authority, Mr. Eric Okori. Also with us this morning is the Director General, CSIR, Professor Paul Bosu. This morning we are joined by the Director General, Ghana Atomic Energy, Professor Samuel B. Dampare. Also with us this morning is the Chief Director at the Ministry, Mr. Patrick Nimo. And as I mentioned earlier, we are honored to host the Honorable Minister at the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, who also doubles as the Member of Parliament for the good people of Sehwi Uyoso constituency. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will invite the Honorable Minister for his presentation, and then we'll come back to you for the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a glare here. Yeah. There's a glare, you know, the lights. Okay. I'm having some glare, the lights are. All right, thank you very much. And good morning, everybody. I'm very, very happy to be here because MESTI, that Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation, usually we are a very little understood ministry. I wonder how many of you even know what we do. But suffice to say that perhaps of all the ministries, MESTI is the most important ministry. And I say so not at the personal level, but at the operational level and in the way Ghana's governance and socioeconomic system has been arranged. Because this is the most pivotal ministry which coordinates and regulates, and there are so many things across ministries. Indeed, sometimes we formulate policies and even hand over to our colleague ministers, not because we are superior to them, but that is what the law says. So, in a nutshell, I've always characterized my ministry as the offensive midfielder of Ghana's socio-economic arrangement. So, as a rule, we don't score. So, we don't get all the accolades, mercy, that it deserves. But when we're in a strategic position to score, we score. So, we are like the Thomas Partey of, if I may use soccer speak or football speak. Let me give an example. You hear of planting for food and jobs. Did you know that about 90% of all the grains and legumes being planted in Ghana came from either the fields and the research laboratories of MESTI and or came from outside Ghana but had to be validated for use in this country? Nobody knows. But of course, Ministry of Agric takes all the credit. We are not jealous of them, but we are only explaining. We are not complaining. You understand? The same thing that Ghana, you hear that because of what is happening in the world, that we are transitioning from dirty fuels to clean energy. You will see that we are the lead ministry in making sure that we have atomic or nuclear energy into our energy mix, to the extent that yours truly is even the chairperson of Ghana's energy transition team, the plan that is being done. But again, we have been constructed in such a way that we should know we are willing to cede the place and the space for Ministry of Energy to get all the accolade. But if we do not do our work well, for example, negotiations with IEA, and we have all these professors here and all that, if we don't do it well, Ghana does not stand any chance of getting nuclear energy into our energy mix within the next decade. So a lot of, I can give several examples, but let this suffice. So as I stand before you today, I want to make sure that at least MESTI is understood, because this ministry holds the key to shaping the policies and the regulatory frameworks that promise sustainable practices and technologies across all sectors are applied for our economic development. MESTI will play a very pivotal role through collaboration, coordination, and co-management in all sectors. And our mission is to ensure that our development initiatives are aligned with environmentally sound and technologically advanced practices, paving the way for a prosperous and sustainable future. And in this presentation, I will aim to provide context for our MESTI's actions, and we will emphasize key issues and focus on areas which are cross-cutting in nature that guide our efforts. And then let us delve into these critical areas. One, my discipline will be anchored on circularity and circular economy. It's a new concept in the whole world, but it is even more crucial for a developing country such as Ghana. Number two, we will focus on climate mitigation and adaptation. Also, it's an evolving issue in the world, and we don't have to be bystanders, we have to be active participants. And then, of course, is very crucial as a developing country in view of what is happening, that we have to base all our actions on nature and eco-based approaches because of where we are placed geographically. We are a very diverse country climatically or by way of our environmentally, because we have forest zones, we have the transition zone, we have the lower savanna zone, upper savanna zone, and even these days Sahel is quickly approaching us. So we have to make sure that everything that we do is ecosystem based and we take care of that. And then of course we have to make sure, aligned to the last one, is the idea of sustainable development. We have to go on the path of sustainability. And then finally, we have to apply research and technology in all our socio-economic development and across all sectors. So if you align your mind to all these 5 key points, then you see that we have a very, very, very big and wide task. The glare on my laptop cannot make me use it. By way of policies and regulations, I'm pleased to announce that, so I'll go straight into the topic and not go into broad things. So if you take policies and regulations, again, I will take the subject that I've said, by way of policies and regulations, environmental protection, then I will deal with the carbon market and climate change, and then coastal resilience and landscape management, scientific and industrial and applied research, and then I will close the subject, and I'm sure I will have dealt with the topic at hand. So if you bear with me, like I've said, please, MESTI is not a very, very sexy ministry. So it's a very turgid one. Some of the things that I'm going to put out there might even be frankly boring, but that is the nature of our ministry. So I beg you to bear with me. Now, we recognize the pressing needs for I'm pleased to announce that the National Space Policy has been approved by Cabinet, and this policy serves as a framework for utilizing space science and technology to drive our national development. Yes, Ghana has to be there. Space, science, technology. We have to be in space, not by way of constructing our own spacecrafts and whatnot, but we have to leverage on that technology because we can ascend that through commercial means and aligning with other people who have the technological know-how. We can go there and then use the technology to develop our country very fast. MESTI is collaborating with several ministries and the private sector to establish the Ghana Space Agency. This agency will coordinate the development of human capital infrastructure and overall growth of the space science sector. Under the Ghana-Korea K Innovation Partnership Program, for example, we have unveiled comprehensive 10-year master plan to enhance the commercialization of research and innovation in our country. Additionally, with the support of UNESCO, the Ghana's National Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy has been reviewed. In line with our commitment to global disarmament efforts, MESTI, in partnership with the United Nations for Office for Disarmament, is actively reviewing the Biological and Toxin Weapons Bill to implement the 1972 Convention on the Prohibition of Bacteriological and Toxin Weapons. I tell you, MESTI is very futuristic. We are looking and scanning the environment so that those who hold even the last remnants of a biological, for example, that smallpox has been eradicated, but there are few countries who are holding smallpox virus in stock. They have the potential to, use it as a biological weapon. So MESTI is keeping tab on all of them for the benefit of this country. Some of our jobs are even better not be said. So that is how MESTI has been constructed. On environmental protection, we recognize the pressing need to address environmental challenges as part of the establishing a circular economy framework for especially the plastic sector in Ghana. And in this Ghanaian project, we have selected 12 SMEs to receive technical and financial support. These initiatives include discouraging single-use plastic production, demonstrating the production of biodegradable plastics, and promoting the recycling of PETs. You forget about the acronyms. Plastics, there are various brands, PET, ADP, and LDP, and so on and so forth. To tackle the plastic waste in schools, the Plastic Free School Project has been implemented in 2 schools, focusing on plastic segregation and integration of plastic management programs into the curriculum. We have collaborated with the University of Ghana and NOTPLA to introduce the OHO edible water packaging and compostable takeaway boxes in selected restaurants on the University of Ghana campus. You see, these are all tentative steps. We want to address the plastic problem. I know that some people are in a hurry. They want us to go by way of legislation. We don't want to be disruptive to our industry and all that. We believe that we will get where Rwanda and Kenya have got into now through a non-disruptive approach. And we are working in tandem, actually, with the private sector so that we use market-based approaches to address the problem of the plastic menace as we see. Because we are taking tentative steps, actual boots on the ground steps, but they are in the operational phase, so you might not appreciate them. My aim at the personal level is that by the time I leave office, next year, God willing, when everything, the good people of Ghana will have given us another mandate, but for me, it's for me to establish the framework and the institutional capacity so that we can go full scale and deal with this plastic thing. So you guys have to pray for your minister. And to manage, another issue is the electronic, yes, because it's a big problem, honestly. Sometimes it gives me sleepless nights, but we'll solve it. We've been here before. In all humility, I faced a similar situation about 20 years ago. That was health insurance, but that is another problem. So we'll deal with this plastic thing. To manage electronic waste, the ministry is implementing the sustainable management of electrical and electronic waste with support from the German Development Corporation, and notably over 315 tons of e-waste and some 37 tons of mixed batteries and 20 tons of thermoplastics and a little over 100 cells of CRTs have been retrieved and mitigating their harmful impact on the environment. Again, we have plans to scale these things whole up. And it is tied in with this Abobroshi thing that they used to burn that place. The Greater Accra Regional Minister has done a yeoman's work, but I said he did some of these things hand in gloves with MESTI. See, that is where we are enablers. MESTI is an enabler ministry. On carbon market and climate change, our efforts are to combat climate change. We have to develop a carbon market framework document to incentivize organizations to minimize their carbon footprint and adopt low carbon technologies. We are engaged with several governments, including Switzerland, Singapore, Sweden, and South Korea, the 4 SS countries, to explore investment opportunities in the carbon market. And notably, projects that are being developed, such as clean cooking solutions, waste to compost projects, and electric bikes, among others. And the latest among them was this Red Plus thing, that Ministry of Environment, Science, and we developed the framework. And in fact, we're either the second country and first in Africa, following the passage of the Paris Agreement, the framework, under Article, I think, 6.4? 6.2. That enabled Minister Bu Jinapor, and again, that he has received a check for Red Plus. Red Plus is in the cocoa sector. When they are doing plans, they do carbon sequestration, and then we get compensation for that. If MESTI had not done this groundwork, there was no way they were going to receive that check. But again, the other time I met him and I said, hey, my nephew, next time when you are speaking, make sure you give your uncle credit. Yes. Coastal resilience and landscape management. The West African Coastal Resilience Investment Project is a 2 flagship initiative aimed at strengthening the resilience of coastal communities and ecosystems. This project seeks to protect coastal areas from erosion and flooding, and support coastal livelihoods and promote the sustainable growth of Ghana's blue economy. Another emerging phenomenon that Ghana will have to make. In fact, we are the forefront about this blue economy thing. It's a new thing. We haven't made, even internationally, they have not been headway. We are at the tentative steps, but we are at the forefront. Sometimes even Ghana plays the role of agent provocateur, that some of the things that we want the global north to develop, we are the forefront. The Furthermore, I believe that Ghana's landscape restoration and small-scale mining project is an essential effort to strengthen integrated landscape management and formalize artisanal small-scale mining. Again, we are doing this in tandem with the Minerals Commission on the Lands and Natural Resources, and then part of the project is also on the Ministry of Agriculture. And we have piloted ecologically focused land use planning in 10 districts. Of course, local government is also in there. And sub-basin supported farmers with sustainable land management practices and established a rapid response team to address pollution concerns. The 10 districts that I'm talking of specificity, it's not like we are talking theory, are Busa South, Kasina Nankana West, Wa East, Sisala West, Kwahu Afram Plains, Kwahu South, Bosome Frewo, and Kwahu West. So we are at the it's an upscale of something that Messi did with, my officials will come in later if you have questions. So it is on that the World Bank saw that it's a project that can be scaled up to address several issues. Of course, that time Galamsey was not a big issue. So we are using the same vehicle to address part of these Galamsey problems. Now, on the scientific, industrial, and applied research front, that is even our main strength. That is when you mention in Ghana, everybody knows that MESTI, through CSIR, and then especially GAEC, that is our strength. But in this realm of scientific research, we have achieved a lot of successes. The president has approved the inclusion of nuclear technology in Ghana's power generation mix, and the Ghana Nuclear Power Program Organization, GNPO, will move to the office of the president, and indeed they have moved, to enhance coordination. And that's where I said I am, the chairperson of the Energy Transition Plan, but not with the GNPO, of course. They are not all related. I'm sorry, I'll correct myself. We have also received approval for the commercial release of BT port borer resistant cowpea, which will boost farmers' yields and add value to our agricultural sector. Again, CSR, CRI, that is a Crop Research Institute, CSR Crop Research Institute at Fumeswa, and CSR FRI, that I want to believe that's a Forest Research Institute, all in the enclave, the Fumeswa, have developed